talking about a political issue like this increased taxation for public safety, we all have to think about how long do we really have to think about this before the bell goes off. Well, has anybody seen all those ads on the TV already about either the guy that does more or the other one that ships jobs to Mexico or whatever? You've seen that? They're starting to hate those ads. I know by the 40th or 50th day I'm starting to feel very sick of those ads. But it's only 78 days between today and November 6th when we have to vote. As our Toastmaster mentioned, the issue I wanted to talk about tonight is dear to my heart and to several others of you here in the room who live in Noblesville. For those of you who live outside of Noblesville, it's not something you have to particularly worry about, but it is something of interest to think about in terms of how we need to really be looking at funding our education system when we live in the county, Hamilton County, I believe all of us do, that is the richest in the state. Why is that? Well, it's because the greater number of children that you have on assisted lunch programs, the more the state kicks in per student. So in Carmel or in Noblesville or Westfield, all three of those communities, there is the lowest amount per student that is given by the state. What that means is that we must have to kick in more locally if we want to have education, high levels of education. Well, I want to talk specifically about the thing that's up for a vote on December 6th, or on November 6th, excuse me. In Noblesville, the monies are going to be 50 million. That really sounds like a lot, but that's over 8 years. We're talking about 6.34 million per year. And that's going to be cut into 3 pieces of pie. Hiring a police officer, 1 for each school. Well, why? All of you heard about the May 25th shooting at Noblesville West Middle School. It's to try to avoid and give some protection in that way. Also to hire counselors to talk with youth that are upset and might become the next shooter, and also about those students that went back to school just 3 or 4 weeks ago now that are just, maybe you had been in that same class with the young woman that was gunned down by a fellow classmate. The third is to increase teachers' salaries, and that is actually the largest piece of the pie. That would be a good half, and the other 2 quarters would be the hiring of police officers and of counselors. Why do we need to increase the amount of money that is given for teacher compensation? Well, we're right next to some other school districts that pay teachers up to $10,000 more per year. That seems like a tremendous amount. For students like Mr. Seaman, who was the science teacher at Noblesville West Middle School, who was shot, essentially grabbing the shooter, the kid that was shooting. I can't say that $10,000 would be enough. He was given a car and some other nice things, and that can be a part of it. But the other part of it is just to be competitive so that we don't lose teachers to other school districts. Now, what I'd like to talk about now is what is on your mind when you hear about this ballot issue? How much money is it gonna be in my own taxes? And how do I personally feel about it? Does anyone have a question at this time? Well, I came prepared. Just to say that I actually have had a thing on a clip to show you about the informational meetings that have been planned. 3 of them have already occurred, but the next one is on the 23rd of the month at one of the elementary schools. And Trish is nicely gonna pull that up for me. It is August 23rd at Noble Crossing Elementary School. The following one is August 27th at Noblesville East Middle School. And on the 30th at Hinkle Creek Elementary. September 5th at North Elementary. September 6th at White River Elementary. On the September 11th, West Middle School. For me, this is just across the road on September 12th at Hazeldale Elementary. And then at Stony Creek Elementary, Promise Road Elementary, Ivy Tech, Noblesville. And the final one, October 1st at Forest Park Inn in Noblesville. So if you had any questions about how these monies were going to be used and how much it would cost, these can all be addressed to Superintendent Dr. Beth Wiedemeyer at one of these informational meetings. The true dollars and cents out of a person's pocket, if the average house is $206,000, it will be an additional $180 per year. Mr. Toastmaster.